PNC News First is presented by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza where it's never been before. Taco Bell, the only place where you live Moss. Guam Auto Spot. Colgate, the #1 brand recommended by dentists. And IT&E, Life in Motion.
Live from the Broadcast Center, Akata, Tumon, Guam. Broadcasting in Guam and Saipan. Here's Janella Carrera and Clint Rigel with Donna De Jesus and Rebecca Elmore. PNC Sports with Leo Payumo and weather with Chelsea Cruz. This is PNC News First.
Hafude, good evening, and thanks for tuning in to PNC's News First, broadcasting live from the Broadcast Center in Akanta in Tumon. I'm Clint Rigel.
And I'm Janella Carrera. Thanks for joining us. Topping your news first tonight, Take Care Insurance has fired back and is calling the Guam Regional Medical City bullies for attempting to drag them into what they call an unfair agreement. Take Care is also referencing local law that prevents the hospital from billing patients for claims over 90 days old. But GRMC says the insurance company is misinterpreting the law, and they have the law's author to back them. Take Care Insurance is fighting back against GRMC's attempts to collect from Take Care customers past due bills, taking out full-page ads in both daily papers. Signed by CEO Joe Husline and President Jeff Larson, the ad is addressed to Take Care members disputing GRMC's public announcements about failed negotiations. The letter is in response to GRMC's public announcement that it would be billing Take Care patients for services related to visits within the last 2 years. But Take Care is advising its members not to pay those bills right away and seek legal advice first. Citing local law called the Prompt Payment Act of 2000, Take Care believes bills over 90 days old are invalid. Essentially, Take Care is saying that if it's been more than 90 days since your visit and you still haven't received a bill, then you're free and clear. Quote, GRMC's threat to send stale bills to Take Care's members may be in violation of law depending on when the services were provided, end quote. GRMC disagrees.
And our interpretation is the Prompt Payment Act of 2000 was a law that was created to regulate the relationship between a contracted health plan and a provider, particularly the hospital GMH at that time, but it involves all providers. However, he's then taken the angle that, however, it does apply between the provider, GRMC, and our member, our patient, their member, and we're saying absolutely not, it does not.
But what does the law's author, former Senator Simon Sanchez, say? Here he is on K57's One Free Refill with host Phil Leon Guerrero.
In terms of timely payment.
Well, there was also...
This was aimed at healthcare providers and healthcare insurers, administrators that have a contract.
In essence, Sanchez says the law requires that providers, in this case hospitals, submit claims or bills to healthcare insurance agencies within 90 days. But for Take Care members, this law would not apply. This is because GRMC and Take Care do not have an agreement or contract in place.
So if you're a Take Care customer, from a GRMC point of view, at least if you go there, you're a self-pay.
The claims referred to in the law that must be submitted within 90 days are ones that read in code and for the most part are handled by medical billers and coders.
We're talking about ICD-10 diagnosis codes, we're talking about common procedural terminology, CPT treatment codes, we're talking about modifiers used depending on the type of care. All these are on codes on these claim forms. Do you think that we send a claim to them in 90 days and they're going to read all that stuff we just talked about? They don't know what the codes are.
As far as being called a bully, Plinsky had this to say.
Yet somehow they've become the victim. Take Care's the victim now. We're the bully. And I don't know what they refer to their patient as. I think let's relook at things here. The victim is the patient. Their member is the victim.
And you can read more online at pacificnewscenter.com.
The home of the Sharks will finally see some much-needed renovations now that Governor Eddie Calvo has written a $1.5 million check to fix the school and other schools as well. PNC's Rebecca Elmore has the story.
At long last, Simon Sanchez High School can finally start those immediate repairs.
I've got something special for you. Again, it's for $1.5 million. I know you needed the help. And that'll go, I know, for some of the repair work that needs to be done this summer for Simon Sanchez as well as some of the other middle schools.
About $1.1 million of those funds will go directly towards critical repairs at the dilapidated high school.
We are looking at renovating, fixing up some of our temporary buildings that have always incurred public health citations, whether it's roof leaks, the walls, and even the flooring. We're also looking at refurbishing some of the classrooms that are small in size so that we could accommodate more students.
Although it's too early to be sure, Simon Sanchez administrators tell PNC that they're confident that the repairs can be completed before this upcoming academic year begins. If not, the campus could face double session.
Well, our school is really working hard at trying not to go into double session because we do understand what it entails. We are a campus of 1,800 students, so that would mean trying to identify which students are going to be going in the morning session or in the afternoon session if we have to double session.
The governor said time was of the essence as the school has until the end of the summer to complete the renovation. Adelup chided the legislature for not delivering a timely appropriation to the Education Department, saying in a release, quote, "Senators cannot sit back and forget about their promise to help Simon Sanchez High School students, teachers, and staff."
We see the condition of the school, and we see what you've had to deal with on a daily basis, and we're going to do everything we can, again, to push forward for the renovation or construction of the Simon Sanchez facilities.
For nearly 2 weeks, the legislature debated bills to address critical repairs needed for the GGO campus. However, each piece of legislation was ultimately deferred back to committee. Education Board Chairman Peter Alexis Atta wrote to Speaker Cruz today, asking for the legislature to support measures that could help identify additional funding. And it appears the pressure will also be applied by the administration as well.
So what we're going to do is encourage the folks in the legislature to do their part as well to assist in getting you the necessary resources.
Reporting for PNC News, I'm Rebecca Elmore.
Well, after 10 days of searching, the man who escaped from the Guam Regional Medical City was finally found and put behind bars. 46-year-old Robert Nick Torralba was arrested on the 1st of the month when officers attempted to execute a traffic pullover on Isangsang Road. Torralba sustained injuries after losing control of his motorcycle and was taken to GRMC to undergo medical treatment, but police say he escaped from the hospital a few days later. Last night, according to GPD spokesperson Captain Kim Santos, a follow-up investigation by the Mandanya Drug Task Force led police to a Dedido home where Torralba was being harbored. 38-year-old Jeannie Rose Mathis was arrested for hindering apprehension, and 50-year-old Ronnie Marquez Karamit was charged with hindering apprehension and criminal facilitation. The pair was booked and released.
The Department of Chamorro Affairs is asking for an increase in their budget for fiscal year 2018. The DCA received $3.1 million for FY17, but they're requesting $4.3 million for FY18. That's an additional $1.2 million that they are seeking in funding. Senators are concerned about some of the money the DCA has been spending on various contracts for Hagatnya redevelopment and restoration. Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi had questions about some $600,000 worth of contracts for Hagatnya redevelopment feasibility study.
These are huge amounts of money to me, and I'm thinking about the schools and the request that we've had, earlier this month from the schools, and so I'm just trying to weigh this all out and see which one is priority, which one, maybe if we have to prioritize government-wide, what would we do?
GVB had a budget hearing this afternoon where they presented a $27.8 million budget request for FY18, which is $5.5 million more than their current budget.
All right, we'll stay right there. We have more News First coming up after this.